Okay, and we are live. Welcome back to the Backpackers Blitz. It is week 7. We are down a man tonight. There's no Chad tonight. Chad is, where can we say Chad? Does it make something up? Is he
He's in Hawaii, actually.
He's in Hawaii recovering from surgery. He's getting butt implants, probably. Yeah.
I think it was calf implants.
Calf implants. I may have misunderstood the text. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But he'll be back next week. Actually, he has dinner plans with his wife, so we let him slide this week. Anyway, I'm going to post a link in the chat. Anybody can join and turn your camera on and join this live stream with us. We do have a theme tonight. The theme is going to be all about your first backpacking trip. We got a whole bunch of questions we're going to ask. We're going to ask that you guys in the chat also ask your questions, and we'll talk about them amongst ourselves. And you guys can also answer the question as well. Chad is out pooping, Joey says. That's a possibility. That's possible.
Perfect.
So there's a link I posted. You guys can click on that, turn your camera on, and join us. I'm not sure if I posted the link right. Actually, I think it came across weird. Let me just try that again. And let's see if that works better.
Okay,
it's
there.
Okay, so anyway, throughout the night, join in, and we'll bring us out to chat. So we got a couple of questions we're going to ask everybody. And again, click that link and join us. So Tim, Devin, we're going to ask you guys a question first. So again, the theme is all about your first backpacking trip. So what actually motivated you, Tim, to get into backpacking and go on your first backpacking trip?
Well, actually, I think I've told this story before, but I'll swing it a little different way. YouTube really got me into it, to be honest with you, because I just saw some channels that stood out to me and watched all the gear and got excited about that. But I think when I really got pumped would probably be just when I started exploring maps and areas, specifically like South Dakota, Minnesota area, figuring out the trails and feeling a little more confident about being able to get out there and not lose my way. So yeah, I don't know. It's not a really exciting story, but I just always wanted to reconnect with nature. And I felt like combining that with exercise could not be horrible for me with all my poor life choices. Yeah. No, I think, that's a multifaceted question, but I think it's going to be a good one for people that chime in. I can't wait to hear what Men in Black below us is going to say.
In fact, Devin's actually wearing the same outfit that he wore on his first backpacking trip. So Devin, why don't you tell us about what motivated you to get into backpacking for the first time?
Aliens. Yeah. So I don't like to tell people, and actually, there you go.
I got it.
Thank you.
Is that your wedding suit, by the way?
It is actually.
It's sharp, dude. I gotta say, it's sharp.
I don't have a black suit anymore. I have blue, black, and blue, dark gray, and light gray. So I just went with this one as the closest to black I could do. What got me out? I grew up camping and hunting and fishing and stuff, and we would always go camping in the summertime as a family.
So was it your parents that got you into it?
Yeah, pretty well. So although all this fancy gear we have nowadays, it's crazy. I mean, inflatable sleeping pads. We slept on the ground. There was just
do you think they were trying to lose you? Like they just put you on the ground and like walked. Were you alone? They put you on the ground and just walked away.
No, we had a tent. I mean, like we were in the tent at least and in sleeping bags, but we just slept on the ground in sleeping bags. And so, we never had like a foam top or even. We just slept on the ground because I was, camping.
Yeah, I think the same thing. We just had sleeping bags on the ground, even on cold nights. I mean, I wasn't hardcore into winter then, but
yeah, no, we did not do the wintertime. My mother would not allow that.
Well, I mean, to hijack your story, I instantly thought of that Joe Dirt movie where his parents took him to the Grand Canyon and then left him behind.
Yeah.
Your parents were doing that to you and you just didn't realize it, What's up, Mr. Woodall Trails?
What's up?
Good day, sir.
Not much.
So we're going to just throw you in the fire here, buddy. So the theme for tonight is, what got you, your first backpacking trip. This first question is a question we've all answered pretty much on the show a couple of times in different ways. But so what motivated you to get into backpacking for your first time?
Well, I was in the Army. I just loved rucking so much, I decided to keep with it.
Yeah.
No, not really. I love the outdoors. Always loved the outdoors. My cousin actually got me into more backpacking and the hammock camping side. I started watching a few of his videos that he done on YouTube way back when. And then had bariatric surgery and got down to what I wanted to do. And I was like, heck, I'm going to start doing it now.
Nice.
Right on.
Good deal.
We have somebody in the comments. Yeah,
Did
that's
shrooms
exactly
with
the one I was going to bring up.
Michael said he did shrooms with strangers in Indianapolis on his first backpacking trip. So, Michael, you got to jump in here and actually give us the full story. So I'm going to post the link again. You got to turn your camera on. And once you leave the bathroom, of course, turn your camera on and then tell us the whole story in person. So I want to
We'll
hear
see
that.
if Mike jumps in. I hope he does.
All right. Okay. So let's move on to the second question. Again, I got a bunch of questions here. We can also take questions from the crowd. Feel free to ask your questions in there or even answer them if you want. Okay. So, Tim, back to you again. So, how did you prepare for your first backpacking trip? Like research and gear, physical training? Did you do any kind of preparation leading up to your first trip that you can remember?
I'm laughing at the physical training part. I did. I did no such thing on the physical end of things, but I think
he drank a couple monsters and he was just raring to go.
Yeah, smoked a Marlboro at the time. Probably now I'm switched over to the much healthier American spirits. But no, I think as far as gear is concerned, I was probably the same old broken record of all of us. I over prepared. I brought a ton of unnecessary gadgets, and yeah, my first pack was an 85 liter. I shit you not. And I don't know if I even had a scale back then, but it had to be close to 50 pounds. And then ambitiously took a loop through the Black Hills to summit Black Elk Peak, and we stopped at the spur trail to get up there because it was bad. Yeah,
I know my first, I planned for probably a year. I kept trying to get friends to go with me, and nobody wanted to go with me. And I kept planning. And the more time I spent planning, I'm getting tangled up here. The more time I spent planning, the more time I spent buying gear. And I had spent so much money that first year. And of course, I want to take everything with me on the first trip. I was in the mid 40s, 45 pounds. And I'm not sure if I had a scale either. I think I used the actual scale that you stand on to see how chubby you're getting. And I probably put it, did the math.
Yeah.
And went out there and I did well, for me, it was like maybe 8-9 miles on that first trip. And it was awful, but I was hooked. I was definitely hooked. Okay, Mr. Woodall Trail, same thing to you. So how did you prepare for your first trip as far as research or training or any kind of like gear acquisition, that kind of stuff?
Of course, watching the gear videos online. And of course, my first one was one night, 40-liter pack, probably 60 pounds. Hammock was probably 10 pounds. It was one of them lay flat hammocks. I was a tent camper coming into hammocks, and I was like, you know what? But first trip was
which hammock was it? I gotta ask.
The nightcat lay flat hammock.
Is that like the what's that?
It's like kind of like the Haven, very similar to the Haven, but it's China's version, I guess you would say.
Right on.
I've never seen those before.
I'm sure I had my fair share of gear that I couldn't pronounce the name. I still do. I like a lot of clothing and stuff. It's like, how the hell did you come up with that name? What'd you say it was? The Nightcat?
Yeah, Nightcat.
That thing looks cool.
Yeah, I called it. It's a coffin in between two trees is what I call it.
Right.
The size of it.
Yeah.
But so leading up like 2 weeks in advance, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, look, I've got all my gear now. I'm going. I'm going. She's like, no, you're not. And so I go, and of course she. I sent her a picture. I'm like, this is where I'm going. And apparently she didn't think I was going to stay the night. I was just going out there to walk around the woods and come back home. But so she drives actually out there in the middle of the night to find me. She texts my buddy. She's like, hey, where's Jonathan? He's not home. Where's he at? He's not home. And I was like, he's like, oh, didn't you know? He told us all that he was going out to do this hiking backpacking thing. She's like, I didn't think he was serious. So, to sum it up next, I get out of the woods the next day. I did, I think it was like, first trip was like about 11 miles. I did 5 in, 5 back out the next day. And I get to my car and I see this couple standing there and they're looking really, like me, like, and I'm like, y'all okay? You need help finding a trailhead, something? They're like, no, we're wondering if we should park here because there's 2 cars down there that have been broken into. And so I go, okay, what's these cars look like? And they go, well, one of them's blue Kia. I was like, whoa, hold up. Blue Kia? Okay, so I was like, okay, show me this car. Well, of course, we get down there. It's my car. I don't know many blue Kias that have a Seattle Seahawks cover on their black tag. So and I see the windows busted out, of course. I didn't have nothing in there worth taking. I mean,
I think was your first trip?
My first trip, yes. And they stole the keyboard. I work in IT at a school. They stole the keyboards out of my car. And then I'm like, okay, they got that. Who cares? Well, then I get in.
I have so many questions. Just hold on a second. You just said he stole keyboards out of your car?
Yeah, they stole keyboards out of my car.
Who
from
would
work
break
that I
a
had
window to steal a keyboard that costs $9 at Walmart?
I was gonna say they're not. If they're at a school, they're not even nice keyboards. Like
No.
those ones are garbage.
No, I'm pretty sure it just said wireless keyboard and it was a white box.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry. Carry
Nice.
on.
But so then I'm like, okay, they ain't getting nothing. I'm like, okay, I don't see nothing missing. We're good. Well, then I put my key in the ignition and I turn it, and all I hear is whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, well, that ain't right. And so I was like, maybe it's so I turn it off and I do it again. Same exact thing. And I was like, so they cut my catalytic converter.
No kidding.
Hey, and took the
Jeez.
keyboards. Okay, I mean
Yeah.
that's.
So that was
Would
my
you-
first trip.
John, would you mind backing up and recreating that sound it made one more time?
Yeah, so I turned the key and it goes.
Thank you for humoring me.
I think
Where-
we found our new
where
end of the
again
show
was this?
sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's this?
Yeah.
Uh,
Don't just so I don't go there ever.
I mean, you could take a guess. I live in Kentucky, so it can be any, methed out corner in the
Fair
woods
enough.
somewhere. Funny thing
Fair
is,
enough.
the cop, the cop had come in the night before, and he actually left his name and stuff on my windshield to give him a call. And then, so I give him a call. He's like, "Oh yeah, we know exactly who did it, and he's done it before, and he's done it in the same area." I'm like, "Well, how does he keep getting out there?"
And you guys haven't arrested this guy?
No. Well, it's Kentucky.
Okay, real quick. Was his name Brian Winburn? Was that him? Is he the one?
Might have been.
It was me.
He's
Sorry.
from the same area, so I don't know.
Good deal. Hey, well, Brian, welcome back. Welcome to the show. I guess it's the first time you've been actually on the screen here. So the theme tonight is your first backpacking trip. Asking a bunch of questions around the group here. And so we're going to come straight to you and throw you in the fire. And we're going to follow up the same question we just asked Mr. Woodall Trails. And I already forgot which question we asked him. Oh, how did you prepare for your first backpacking trip? Is that what we asked? Yeah. How
Yeah.
did you prepare for your first backpacking trip? As far as planning your gear, did you buy a bunch of stuff? Did you borrow it? Did you do any training? Tim did a lot of training. I'm not sure if you heard that response or not, but
Yeah.
go, you're up.
All right. So my first backpacking trip was going to start section hiking the Sheltoe Trace. And originally we were going to start at the southern terminus, but the weather was bad, so we ended up starting in the gorge. And I bought all kinds of gear. I bought an Osprey backpack, bought the Atmos, and bought Toke's titanium stoves. Did a lot of research on gear before we ever even went. So I don't know. I was pretty well prepared. It was a little heavy, probably about a 35-pound pack, not too bad. And we watched a lot of YouTube videos, and then it turns out 15 miles over 2 days is a lot more exhausting than I anticipated. So I ended up doing about 70 miles, but there's a lot of dogs on the roads when you get outside of the gorge. And man, I got bit by 3 different dogs on 3 different days. I was done. I did 70 miles, and I think 40 of it was on the road. It was road walking, and that's where all the dogs were. It was horrible.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was terrible.
How long ago was that?
That was 2015, I think. 2016, 2015. It'd been a while.
2015. All right. Well, I got another. Before I go on to my next question, we have a question in the chat here. This is from Boopernator. Okay, cool name. It says, "You guys had YouTube and Google for your first trip. I was pre-internet for my first time." So let's talk about how you actually navigated your first trips. Did you guys use GPS? Did you use maps? Did you just take a guess where you were going? Tim, I'll go to you first. How'd you actually navigate your first trip? You just get high and said, screw it, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we can double back to that mushroom story too if you want to hear it a little later, because I do know
the voices told him where to go.
Yeah, Mike's not coming on, but I do know this story. But I digress. First and foremost, excuse Ben's dementia, Brian, but you have been on the show before, have you not?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
I
he was
went to
in
correct him.
here in the video?
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to correct him.
you old ass man.
Oh, I'm so listen, there's so many things been going on lately. I apologize.
We're all getting really old, Brian. It's okay.
It's all right.
Our memories
too.
aren't quite what they used to
I
be.
see.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I see Brian's name pop up all over the place, and I just assumed that he's in the chat. I didn't know he actually was in here before. I must have just been. Who knows what I was
That's fine,
doing.
Ben. I don't
I knew he
remember.
was in here.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I mean, you can't create us Kentucky boys. We do crazy shit.
Brian, how many times have I told you got to get on the show tonight? And I don't know. I must have just blanked. I don't know.
2 or 3.
Yeah, I
all right.
completely spaced on that.
I can't forget a name. I don't forget faces very often. I think it's the bartender in me. But what are we talking about? How did I prepare? Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's also Tim's first night too. There you go. Right?
Yeah. It is. Who is this guy?
Yeah. Okay. So,
I think from the get go, I've always been just an all trails guy. I mean, I carry paper map when necessary. But yeah, all trails. Say what
I
you
was
will
all
about
trails.
it.
Yeah.
It's really
All
never
trails
failed
and
me.
paper.
It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, all trails.
And Devin's only 22 years old, so he has no idea what paper.
I go by
is,
sense
so.
of smell, and because my nose still works.
When you smell that steak, you know to start right there.
Yeah, exactly. I know backpacking with Jason is somewhere in this general vicinity because he's always got steak on him. So back before the internet, I didn't realize there was a time before the internet. I mean, that's quite a while ago.
And Ben, just so you know, Boopernator is the guy who got the Sasquatch backpack. You did the overproduced backpacking video.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he just got his 20.
I just showed my dad that video. My dad was asking, like, my dad walked into our shop the other day. And we were making a video, and of course we were being stupid. He's like, "Do you do that every day?" I was like, "Oh, we sometimes we go further." It's like, I got to show you some videos, and I pulled up that video of that backpack, and he's watching. He's like, "Do you have DJ lights in the background?" I was like, "It gets worse, Dad. Just keep watching." And then I don't know if you guys have any idea what I'm talking about. Do you have any clue what I'm talking about? No. When we're doing I'll try to pull it up on a computer, but basically everybody dresses up in these furry costumes and we're dancing around with the backpack. And is that what you're talking about? That backpack?
Yeah, well, yeah. And then Steve had like the 80s air guitar thing going on.
I will try.
It was pretty rad. I liked it.
I'll try to pull it up here in a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
the videos you guys put out are always ridiculous, and I always love them.
Yeah,
and the fact they're always done in the first take just makes it so much better.
Yeah,
first take, and it's actually, I think it's made it made it way more efficient, but it's actually made most of us just better. That's probably not the right word to use. We're not better, just more accepting of it is what it is, kind of thing. And
worse,
just get it done.
Slower.
Yeah,
gotta have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question, we're gonna throw this to you guys. Brian, you can stay here. Since it's
hey,
first
Ben, pop up Loafer X's latest comment. This will refresh your memory on who Brian is.
Southern.
What was I doing that?
You were here. Remember, I said you. I remember you reacting. I was like, it looks like Taylor's brother from Southern Hikes.
I do remember that now.
Yeah.
Was he wearing a hat? Were you wearing a hat, Brian? I don't know.
Possible. Maybe.
I'm trying to make excuses for your brain deterioration.
Yeah, he probably didn't have his light on, is what it was.
Did you have a beard then? Were you wearing lipstick?
That might have been me, or hair curlers as well.
Wait a minute.
You never know. Week to week.
Answer me this. I think I do remember now. Did your light go out when you were talking to you? Did your light go out? I think it did.
Oh my God. You lose, Ben.
I paid my electric bill.
Ben, is your light going out?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't get your turn.
My lights are definitely going out. Okay. Okay, next question. So what were your biggest concerns or anxieties leading up to your first trip? Like, what were you really worried about, Tim?
I think the recurring theme in my entire life is water. Mike from the chat, he and I I think we share that. We're just always at water insecurity. Never trusting that the sources are going to be dry. Always. Yeah.
Yep.
I think from the very beginning, it's just been that simple. I'm afraid I'm not going to find water where it's supposed to be. And often I don't.
Yeah, that's pretty common. Devin, how about you, buddy?
In Ontario, there's so much water everywhere that you don't really have to worry about it that much. Mine is always just like animals, especially since I've moved out to Alberta. I mean, it's not just regular bears. We have grizzly bears. So those are nice and fun and interactive. So, and there's wolves back where we lived. So in Ontario, at least. Yeah, mostly wild animals while I'm sleeping. So
you may win this one. You may win this round there, Devin. Mr. Woodall Trails, what was your biggest anxiety leading up to your first trip?
Well, with me, it's normally food, like what to bring, and with me, it's getting enough calories because I can't eat a whole lot. So it's trying to figure out what to bring and how to get those calories because I know I'm just going to be burning through them like crazy.
Brian, how about you, buddy? Same question.
Well, it was wintertime, so I was a little bit worried about the cold because I've not done that before, but I had the right gear. But I took a crazy amount of food. I took 6 days worth of food for a 2-day trip.
Just in case. I mean, you get snacky.
You never know. Yep. I don't know why I was worried about food. I was.
I think for me, I know I'm the only person that says this. I'm not sure why, but I was scared that I went solo. I was by myself. I was scared of the dark because I knew I was going to go to a place that didn't have any light pollution. I'm a photographer. I wanted to go someplace or at a time when there's no moon or anything.
Nice.
So I knew it was going to be really, really dark. And for some reason, leading up, I was like, that's what I wanted, but that was also what I was scared of. I don't know why I was scared of the dark. And ended up not being that bad. The sun went down. It got darker and darker and darker. I didn't build a fire or anything. And it wasn't bad. But that's lead. I mean, for probably weeks, knowing I was going to go on this trip, I was freaking out about how dark it was going to be out there because I never did it before. Had no idea.
It's real. I get freaked out by it too sometimes. And
Yeah.
For me, I'll throw on like if I'm remember to download a podcast or something. If I have some noise, I just kind of like forget I'm in the middle of nowhere all by myself. But yeah, it sounds like everybody in the comments all agreeing with most of what we have saying.
Being in the tent as well gives you like a false sense of security. Like that
very
thin
false,
fabric could stop something from getting you. I'd like to point out Devin's comment, backcountry exposure. Tim, you're always in dry places, the Badlands. So yeah, for someone who's scared of running out of water, you're in the wrong spot for it, you know?
Yeah. I have not filtered. I'm in, Big Bend now, as most of you know, and I haven't filtered water since I've gotten here. I haven't found a water source. So every trip I've done here, fortunately, they're 1 or 2 nights because I don't have enough time off. But yeah, there's no water here, period. And I guess that makes sense.
So this is Devin, Mr. Backcountry Exposure. It's Devin. If you want to jump on, if you're not cooking dinner right now, like you did last time, if you want to join us, we got some questions for you. I'll post a link. Come on in.
Doc also said that coyotes, I don't trust them. So a fun story for you, Doc. A friend of mine was out camping and up in Ontario, and he had a coyote pee on his tent. So there you go.
Really?
Yep.
See, I love hearing them, but I hear stories. They closed down.
Oh, you heard it. It was right there, peeing on his tent.
They closed down. They closed down a campsite out here this winter because of aggressive coyotes. I'm like, I've never heard of that shit.
That's wild.
Okay.
Yeah, usually they're pretty scared of you.
Yeah. I would have to venture to guess it's probably humans' fault. I've had coyotes out in the desert out here, just like they hear a car and they come to the road. So they're being fed. Yeah.
I'm gonna assume they'll eat food just like bears or any other animal, right? They're gonna just eat whatever trash you leave laying around.
Yeah.
I don't know much about those animals.
On my last trip, I ran into some guys that run one of the park areas for camping at Banff in Alberta. And he was telling me stories about some of the people there that just thought because some of the bears had collars on that they were domesticated. And they're tracking collars. So he was telling his kid to go out and take pictures with it. Yep.
Oh, man, human brilliance.
Yeah, so...
Doc Watson and Greg Morton
usually it's people.
Have 2 coyote stories.
They go ahead and pull those up there. Tim,
That's wild.
Yeah, I've been charged by a coyote before. They were chasing deer and one saw me and ran at me.
Ew.
Man.
And there's that one.
I carry a gun half the time. The other half the time I can do it with my hands.
Well, thanks, Doc and Greg and all these other damn stories. Now I'm going to be freaked out. I just love sitting there listening to them howl, and now I'm going to be like,
yeah. And Greg says he got surrounded by a coyote pack in eastern
Colorado.
Colorado,
the Canadian knows where this is. Come on,
where's
Colorado?
Okay, yeah,
Colombia, Eastern Colombia.
You gotta understand. I've been thinking about coffee all day. I almost said Colombia. We've been talking about these tariffs at our coffee shop and our coffee roastery like all day. I almost said Colombia. I had to stop myself. Okay, Luckily I was car camping and spent the night in my truck. Okay, moving on. Okay, so here, next question. What was the intended destination and duration of your trip? This is your first trip, by the way. That's the theme of tonight. And did you actually make it, Tim? Did you actually accomplish your goals? And what were they on your first trip?
I think it was an overnighter. And again, it was a Black Elk Peak, which I think is including the peak, maybe 10 miles. Somebody, maybe Mike, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But at any rate, it wasn't hugely ambitious, but again, with the heavy packs. I had my daughter with. It was her first trip as well, obviously. And the person I happened to be dating at the time. And yeah, we didn't. I guess we made the loop. But we didn't make it to the peak, which was kind of the whole point. So, but I'm also one of those guys who I don't get overly disappointed. I tried to climb a peak out here called Emery Peak. It's the highest one in Big Bend. And I got within 15 feet of the summit, and it was like some sketchy ass rock climbing to get to the summit. And I thought I'd be disappointed, but really at the end of the day, That's not really why I do it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to die. That looks close enough. All right,
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Devin. So same question to you, buddy. What was your intended destination, duration, and did you actually accomplish it?
So now here goes the question for this. Are we talking about overnight trips that you've hiked out to, or just like day trips? Because I have no idea when my first day
Here's
trip
the thing.
was.
I think you're assuming to have some kind of plan here.
Yeah. So
let's go overnight. Let's go overnight.
I honestly am not quite sure because it's just kind of been a thing for my entire life. I would have to guess my first trip was probably on some crown land, which is basically just like the government or the crown owns it. So it's probably closer to like BLM land, where anyone can use it, camp on it. You can even stay up to like 30 days in one spot, but then you have to move. You don't have to leave, but you have to move. Anyways, so it was probably out there. There was a local trail, and I think it was probably in the winter time. Actually, we were going out, and we just kind of hiked to the end of the trail there, and there's a lake, and we it was probably only about 10 kilometers out, and then 10 kilometers back. So that was about it. Yeah,
You got
that's
quieter
my
and
guess.
quieter.
I don't really know.
Yeah. I don't know if you're trying to hide from somebody or getting.
Yeah,
quiet.
I'm sorry. Is this any better?
It is.
Okay,
All right, Mr. Woodall Trails, same thing to you, buddy.
That was the most boring story you've ever told.
Nothing crazy.
Devin.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Next
It was winter time for my first trip, I guess, and for an overnight. So
I'm feeling off on the stories too. We'll get there. We got to get Ben will trigger something.
No, it probably won't. We're
okay. Here we go. Wait.
We're missing Chad tonight.
On this trip, my buddy earned the trail name Pack Mule because he didn't actually have a hiking pack. So we ratchet strapped all of his stuff to his backpack. And I have pictures, and I will find pictures.
Okay, we want to see those. Okay,
While you're
Mr.
doing
Woodall
this.
Trails, same question to you, buddy. Did you actually meet your goals on your first trip?
So my first trip, like I said, is just a loop 10-mile trip. Yeah, except for getting my car broken into and making my wife about to have a heart attack and want to kill me. It was accomplished. So
goals met.
That's like a daily thing here.
Did you see Todd's comment? He pulled that up.
Don't you have a computer in front of you, Tim?
My comments aren't popping up. I'm watching them on my phone.
I'm hearing lies.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So Todd managed to run out of water on the largest island. I was hoping to hike with him one day. I may change my mind.
Oh man, he's a great dude. He should come on here sometime. Everybody's shy tonight. Maybe it's International Shy Day. We're all being kind of shy.
Let's go, Mr. Todd. Let's go.
Hey,
here's the link.
Skylar. We have where are you? Little Sandy Dronography. Yeah, I hope if you're still here, Skylar, hop on because that's another Kentucky guy we got to get on here.
Nice. All right, Brian. Same question to you, buddy. Your first trip, did you actually meet your goals you're hoping for?
Yeah, so we were trying to start a section hike of the Sheltowee, and we started a little bit north of Red River Gorge, and we hiked to the south end of the gorge over to Whittleton Campground, and yeah, we accomplished it, but barely. I was really struggling the last couple miles. My feet were killing me.
How many miles was that?
It was about 13, 15, somewhere in
For
that
your
neighborhood.
first trip, that's a lot.
Yeah, that was. Turns out that was a lot more than what I thought it was.
Yeah,
it was a little more ambitious than I probably should have been.
So I'm not sure if I asked this question, to everybody, since we're doing our first trip. Did any of you guys go solo on your first trip? Or did you go with somebody?
I did. I went solo.
Yeah, I went solo.
I went solo. Yeah.
I prefer to be solo. I like the quiet. When you're surrounded by girls at home all the time, you want to be quiet. You want quiet.
Yeah, I have 3 daughters, a wife. I do have a son, but yeah, I like to go by myself.
Even the animals are female here, so I like to go with other people too, but I like quiet.
Yeah,
I don't like quiet.
You don't like quiet, Brian?
No, man.
As far as like going solo, did that like hold you up at all before your first trip, or you just said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna go, and it wasn't even a big thing? Because for me, I literally waited almost a year trying to find somebody to go with me, and I couldn't, and I just eventually said, screw it, I'm gonna go. Like I really waited. Did you guys
think
just
for
go
me,
immediately?
I think
I
for
was
me,
just like, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go first.
You go ahead. You go. You already started.
Fine. I will.
First.
No, I think I was scared shitless, and I think, honest to God, that's a big reason I did it. Yeah, I don't get the opportunity to feel that tough because I'm just not a real tough guy. But I think I wanted to do it by myself the first time.
It's a big challenge. You know, you feel like you accomplished something.
See that?
At least,
Yeah.
I mean,
when I got back, I felt completely different. Like I really did. I was like, this is exactly. I feel like I got more out of it than what I thought I would get. I think I thought I would get something else, and it ended up being something else completely different for me. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but it turned into so much more than what I intended to get out of that first trip. I just wanted to go take pictures. I'm a photographer. I wanted to take some pretty pictures and come back and with some, you know, something to put on the wall. And it ended up not even, that wasn't the end of not being the goal. So anyway, Brian, did you ever go by yourself?
No, you know, it never really interested me. I think I would just get really bored. I camped and fished a lot of my whole life, and I don't know. I like hanging out, and I think that's a good way to hang out. And I don't necessarily like huge groups, but 2 or 3, I think it's just fun to be out in the woods with your friends and hanging out. So yeah, no, it ain't a fear or anything. I just afraid I get bored.
I do like going with friends. My biggest problem out here is I just don't have a lot of people that backpack, or they just don't like backpacking with me. I'm not sure which one of those two is true.
They only ever go on one trip.
Yeah, pretty much, except for Preston. Preston does keep going. Devin, I'll put your screen on. Go ahead and show us that picture.
Okay, so here's my buddy Chase. And as you can see, it is literally all ratchet strapped together.
Oh my
and bungee
God.
cord as well. So hence the name Pack Mule. So I would actually. Oh yeah, there is a backpack under there. It's hard to see. You can see this chest strap there.
It's somewhere.
Yeah, it is in there. So
it's just used the ratchet strap the stuff to his body.
Exactly. Yeah, it was kind of the catalyst, so we didn't have to put the ratchet straps directly on him.
Holy cow!
I was actually wrong. That was not my first trip. That was our second winter trip. The first time was also a winter trip. But we went on an island somewhere, so we had to hike out to it, and it was obnoxiously warm. So it started out cold, and we always have this joke that whenever we go out camping together, it always rains. It got to the point where my dad actually said that I wasn't allowed to go out camping because I'd always go on the weekends. He just happened to be off, and it would rain and ruin the weekend. This was in the middle of the winter time, and it randomly spiked up and started raining, and we were out there camping. And so my buddy built a sled out of some 2x4s and it was plywood and a couple of skids that he got from work, and that's what he hauled everything out with. He had a fishing tent and a kerosene heater that he used, and he slept inside his sleeping bag and had a garbage bag as the liner. Also, Pack Mule, so same guy. We're kind of nuts and do stupid stuff. So, yeah.
I know I'm going to regret asking this question, but how do you hike out to an island in Canada?
I was going to ask the same question.
I don't want to ask.
It was the winter time, so we just walk across the ice. Although it wasn't really ice because it was post-holing for like 3 kilometers.
Didn't you mention it was getting warmer?
It was frozen up until that day, and it randomly started heating up and started raining in the middle of the winter time.
Yeah, no, that's not going to be me. I ain't doing that. That sounds insane. Well, if you guys have any questions you want to ask of us, you can put those in the comment section, and Tim will try to grab it, and I will click on it. Okay, so next question.
I need my actual glasses to read these.
All right, so what was the most challenging aspect of your first trip? And it could be mental, it could be physical, it could be the gear, it could be money, it could be planning, it could be trying to find a friend, whatever. What was the most challenging part leading up to your first backpacking trip? I'll just tell you, mine was I never felt like I was fully ready. I've been planning for a year. I'd pack, I'd repack, I'd repack, and I did think I was going to forget something. And even though the fear was the dark, but it was really just I don't know. Just go, Tim. How about you? You jump in. I'm giving up. I'm bailing on that question.
He's gonna start crying through that.
Yeah,
you know, it's just it's so traumatic to think back to his first trip.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest challenge was related to food, probably because, I mean, I watched so many videos. I was like, damn, that looks good. That looks good. You know, buying all this backpacker's pantry and whatever was hot at the time, but I would trying to brought all these meals, and get out there and try my first dehydrated meal, and it's like literally dry heaving my way just through a couple bites. So I still haven't fully adjusted to dehydrated meals. That's why I'm very picky about. Like,
You're supposed to add water to them, Tim. That's it. Probably would have been dry heaving if they were.
Well, he's never got water to get for it. So.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I remember there was what's the brown package? There's like this cheese dip, or it's like cheese spread.
Well, that's MRE, buddy. That's an MRE.
No. I know what you're talking about there too, but this was a backpacking brand. David Gray always eats it.
That's Packet Gourmet.
Yeah, Brian, that's what I'm looking for. So yeah, I watched that on like David Gray's videos, and I was so excited to try that. And it's like putrid, like just absolutely putrid. There it is. Is that the actual one, or is that a different?
Well, Natch called me out. That was different. This is the actual one.
Cheddar Jack cheese spread. Yeah.
Ooh.
I wonder, I should try it again. I bet I'd like it now that I've learned a little bit more about steeping it longer.
It's great when you put water in it.
Yeah.
He can't find water to put in it.
Yeah. I haven't been carrying a lot this year. I do a lot of PB&Js out here just because water's so precious and hard to figure out exactly what you're going to need.
You can eat it at home.
Right. Yeah.
I'd rather have that steak at home.
Yeah.
Well, out on the trail too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
I'm
right,
a big
so we're
fan
gonna
of the peak refuels. Those ones are pretty good. They don't taste like garbage.
I agree.
So we're gonna skip Devin on this question because he's been hiking since he was 3 years old.
Apparently.
So okay, we're gonna go right over to Woodall Trail. So what was like the most challenging, the single hardest thing for you leading up to your first trip? I said mine was just making sure I had everything with me, and just packing and repacking. It was driving me crazy, and I kept delaying my trip because of that. So what was your biggest hang up there?
Probably communication. I thought I communicated effectively, but apparently I did not. So, so now I put everything on our calendar, and I put the whole weekend. I put where I'm going, so she knows that hey, he's got it planned. So she's like, okay, he's here this week.
Deal. And Brian, what about your first backpacking trip? What was the single thing that was just driving you crazy leading up to your first trip?
Honestly, not enough. I was far too confident. So no, I didn't have any trouble until I got out on the trail, and that was just I had a very hard time with understanding how far I'd walked. It's like how far how far a mile is, but when you get on these trails out in the woods, it's very difficult to get yourself acclimated to how far is a mile.
Yeah.
But leading up the trip, no, nothing. I was way too overconfident.
Yeah, and sometimes just like going up a small incline will just take the wind out of your sails, and then you get a nice downgrade, and you feel like, oh, I'm great again. I can go 10 more miles. And then you hit a slight incline, you're like, oh crap, I'm gonna die.
Our first steps on the trail was probably a quarter mile all uphill, and it was just oh, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you regret your decision pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Well, it humbles you. That's what I love about it. Like simple things like a breeze when you need it, or a gap in the bugs. Like, yeah.
I actually said
it humbles you, brings you back.
Just walking.
Yeah. Walking with a bunch of crap on your back.
It's really funny, the distance thing. I love when you get to like the top of a mountain and then you can look down and see where you started, and you're like, that's really, really far. Like, I started down there. That's crazy. It's always just blown my mind.
I share that
ridge
sentiment.
to ridge. Yeah, if you're on one ridge and you hike from the other ridge, that's always like a lot of Adali sods where I go. There's a lot of that going down one valley, back up the other side, and you can see both sides. Like you're parked over there somewhere, and you're all over here. That is pretty cool. So I found that video. Does anybody want? You guys actually want to watch the video of that backpack?
Absolutely, we do.
Hell yeah!
It is a. I'll go ahead and pull the screen up here, and let's see if I can do this right. Add it to the stage. I'm gonna leave you guys on the screen so you can maybe talk. It is, I think, like a minute long. It's a little obnoxious at the beginning, but it gets more ridiculous as we go on. We brought in a smoke machine. We brought in DJ lights, a bunch of dancers, inflatable guitars. This is us at work.
Yeah, this is the true essence of Ben's sense of humor. It picks up here soon.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Got a party with a bunch of furries.
This video cost me probably, I don't know how many hundreds of dollars. It took us like 2 hours to get everything set up. Those are
So did everybody have their own costume, or did one person have all of these?
so we actually buy costumes at Hilltop Packs and just stockpile them for some stupid reason. Hold on.
Yeah,
Get the-
naturally.
For
I think
some
we know
stupid
the
reason.
reason.
I think we know the reason here.
Okay. So here's what we do. So as soon as somebody has a dumb idea, those always get thrown to the top. Like, okay, how can we actually do that dumb idea? And Christian, who works at our shop, he's willing to do anything. And every time the idea of a costume comes up, he's like, buy it. And like, we'll go on Amazon, we'll just buy it. We have a llama costume, we have bear costumes, we have vampire costumes. You gotta remember when we first opened, it was in my basement, and then we opened a small shop up on High Street, and it was just like 4 of us in a really small room, and we had to do something to have fun with each other. And we made this one video. He's dressed up like a vampire. I mean, I'm talking full on makeup and a vampire kit. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually own a photography and video studio. So we actually broke out all the professional video equipment and actually filmed a real video like a vampire. I mean, we had bats in the video. There's bats flying around. It's insane. If I find it, I'll share with you guys later. But this really stems early on. We were just trying to find ways sometimes to pass the time. You know, we get a ton of orders now, but back then we might get maybe 10, 20 orders a day. Some days we get 5, some days we get 50. It was just so sporadic. And sometimes we just had to kill some time, and costumes from Amazon filled that void.
Yeah.
And we still
I think I need to borrow some of those, honestly.
yeah. It's looking back, it's pretty funny as I'm scrolling back through the old videos, but so we occasionally still do something silly like that.
So when is the backpacking trip with these costumes?
That sounds way too hot. There's just no way.
October, Red River Gorge.
Winter trip.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'll keep you warm in the winter.
Just go out as a giraffe or whatever it was that was going on there.
We could do a live stream one day where I show nothing but old videos of our old shop, and it's just insane. The one with the bats might be the most ridiculous one. We spent hours on it, and we filmed it in one take. It's not like we shoot multi angles and different. We actually did use 2 camera angles on that one, but we did it all in one shot, in one take. We don't ever redo anything. It doesn't matter how bad you screw up. If you guys are familiar with, probably not, but we made a video for Devin. He bought everybody a cup of coffee at our coffee shop one time, and our buddy Steve was making the video for it. And I told Steve, I was like, hey, Devin's a good dude. I know him a little bit. And we talk like he's a good friend of the shop, you know? And he's talking him up, and he's like, yeah, Devin's a good friend of the shop, and he's a really good guy, and we love him. He's really close, whatever he said. And then he called him Trevor.
Our good friend Trevor.
But here's the funny part. When he says Trevor, he's holding a sign with Devin's face on it. And it says Devin on the sign. So he's called him Trevor on camera, and it's just funny.
He just needs a sign that on a shirt, put on a shirt that says, hello, my name is Trevor.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the video for my Dirty 30 does not include a cameo from Buckley. I guess I know where I stand. You got it's the second backpack you buy where you get the fancy video, just so you know. Everybody needs to know that.
Didn't you deliver Jason's? I mean,
I did. That was kind of a spur of the moment thing too. I hand delivered I live in Pennsylvania. I hand delivered a backpack to Kentucky. It took me 2 days to get down there, but I'd finished it, and I messaged him and said, hey, I got a backpack. He goes, oh, I got a trip like tomorrow. And I was like, I'll just go with you. I literally jumped in the car and went. I'm not even kidding. I love opportunities. I even like Devin. You guys probably don't know this, but I shot Devin's wedding. We didn't really know each other. You know, he messaged me about the idea. He was getting married in where did you get married at? Maryland?
In Maryland, yeah.
Yeah. I'm in Pennsylvania. It's like on a couple hour drive. And he's like, I know you're a wedding photographer. I don't know if this is a stupid idea to even talk about. I was like, I'm in. Just yes. Like I didn't even. So I like just doing stuff. Even Tim. When you messaged me, you were going to come down to the shop one time. We never met before. And we're like, I don't even know how we even got on the topic of a backpacking trip. We're like, let's just go. I've invited myself on so many trips. If anybody's in the chat, I apologize. I just tend to invite myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know Lance.
That was a blast, though.
Yeah, I had a good time. Okay, I'll keep talking about myself if I don't change the subject here. Let's see. So how did you feel physically and mentally after your trip? Do you feel like it changed you a little bit? I mean, whether physically or mentally, you could choose whichever topic you want. Tim, I'm gonna let you go first. After your first trip, go.
I don't think my physical changes came on quite that fast. And to this day, if I don't hike like every couple of weeks, I feel like I lose every bit of stamina that I had. Yeah, for real. But yeah, emotionally, I think I realized real early on that this was like, and I mean this as genuinely as I could possibly mean it. Like it changed my outlook on life. A lot less of the blues, a lot less anxiety. Now my biggest source of anxiety is how often can I go? I mean, I based my whole damn life off of just being able to go almost every single weekend. And yeah, for me, it's a mental health cure, damn near. I mean, I'm still a train wreck, but
I'll follow up with that. So is that why you went out the first time? Do you think that's what you're looking for? Or does it just happen to be what you found?
I think it's what I was looking for. Yeah. Because I've always liked camping and I always liked being in the outdoors, but I never felt like a part of it, I guess. You know, when you got neighbors in a campground or like, I don't mean that to be snobby. I mean, there's still a time and a place for, you know, camping in a like campground, but that was the biggest appeal to me is like, I get to choose where my campground is and I'm going to share it with nobody if I choose, you know? So yeah.
Cool. Before I ask Devin the same question, there is a, Michael say likes the catchy tune in the song or in the video. Fun fact, the video you guys just watched, the one we produced, I made that song. I don't know if you guys know that or not. I didn't say that. So it was just a bunch of loops I smashed together. I was a DJ for like 14 years, did a bunch of remix. I worked for remix companies. I pulled out all the old equipment and software, and I actually made that track. So fun fact.
I don't remember the song on Mike's video. I'll have to watch it afterwards.
Not that one. The one I just showed you, I made that one. I didn't make Mike's.
Did you make the kazoo song?
I did not. I wish I could take credit for that.
It's so good. If you see me like bopping after we start, it's because it's stuck in my head.
You'd probably be more impressed to know that he did indeed make it and he wasn't using his mouth on the kazoo. He's got very disciplined muscles in another area of his body.
That kazoo's on eBay right now. You could go bid on it. Okay. So Devin,
Boofing Kazoos by Ben McMillan.
Let's see. So Devin, even though you've been backpacking since a young age, but I keep clicking off of these things.
What the hell's that question?
I must have just
it hasn't really changed anything because I've been doing it for forever. But I do want to throw something back to the last part that we were talking about you know, the spontaneity of, you know, joining trips or driving down and delivering a backpack. And I'm not saying that you should just go backpack with random people, but I have, and I've made some pretty good friends doing it. Mm-hmm. Kane Goes Outdoors on YouTube. I met him in, I don't even know, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. He lived in Quebec and he randomly messaged me on Instagram. It was like, hey, you want to come out to Quebec and we can do some hiking in the mountains? And I'm like, yes. The border was closed, and so I couldn't go down to the Adirondacks. And so I went to Quebec, and they have mountains there. Ontario does not. But so I made the 6-hour drive and made a pretty good friend. Now he lives out here in Alberta as well. So hopefully we'll go out for another trip again. But so, yeah, you know, if you know people, be safe. But, man, there's some cool people out there.
Absolutely.
Like backpackers are awesome, man. Like, it's hard to go wrong. Unless they're going to kill you. Then they're not so great. But, you know, like 50-50.
I 100% agree. I think it's almost universally, I bet everybody's nodding their head, and I'm sure everybody in the chat feels the same way. It's just a weird, I golfed when I was younger, and not all golfers are cool. You know, I water skied. I did that kind of stuff. Not all those, not lake people are cool, but backpackers, I mean, I can count.
Just jump on a stranger's boat. They don't like that too much.
Yeah, they get so weirded out, especially if you're naked. But the whole point,
kazoo stuck up your butt.
Yeah,
no, but your
it doesn't matter what song you play; they just are not impressed.
But your golf analogy is 100% true. That's probably the best way to put it. I've done a lot of trips with people, and I have not had a bad trip. I've had some that were just more exciting than others. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably different for a guy than maybe a female. There's definitely that aspect, and you can't deny that
for sure.
But I have always tried to like resist the urge to say no to everything. Like, you know, your first response is always like, I don't want to go anywhere this week. I just want to sit on the couch. I don't want to be like that. I don't be like that for my kids. I don't be like that for my friends and even total strangers. I mean, I walk around our small town here and people stop me all the time, and I'll give them 5 minutes of my time. You don't know what that's going to turn into. Sometimes sometimes it just turns into a good story later on. Like, you won't believe this crazy person just stopped and told me this story. But resist the urge to say no.
Miyagi and oh no, I can't think of his friend, the Russian or
Milos.
Thank you. Yeah, like if you watch the video, they just randomly come across each other, and now Miyagi and Milos are like inseparable.
Yeah,
kind of.
I'll be vulnerable for a minute and say, like, I've made some of my best friends on trail, but when I met Milos, I didn't think I would choke back tears when I left him. Like, that guy is
when you left me.
incredibly deep. This is a weird thing too. You know, I miss all you guys. I miss the guys I hang out with, and I have no doubt Brian and John and of course Devin. We got to get out someday because it's an amazing situation. I've been on some group things, oddly enough, like the Gorge meetup where there must have been 30 of us that one year, and I will admit there was maybe one or two humans that were a bit, opposite of me, but I meet people of all walks of life, all political views, and it just it vaporizes out there. Even if you know what they are. I know that some of my closest friends have opposing views to me, and it doesn't matter at all.
That's really hard to explain to people that don't backpack. Like, I've tried talking about that to people, and I don't know how your golf analogy is absolutely perfect. I used to golf a lot, and I'd go by myself, and I would either just join another person, or maybe sometimes, 3 other people, I'd go golf with them and just, at the clubhouse, whatever. And I've had so many bad experiences doing that. It was not fun. I'm an idiot most days, and they don't appreciate that like you guys do. And I thank you for that. But I've never felt like out of place backpacking with strangers. I just never did. I don't know.
Yeah.
I already forget what the question was, but Mr. Woodall Trails, why don't you chime in? You ever hike with strangers?
Well, pretty much all the time. If I'm not by myself, that's actually how I met a lot of my good YouTube buddies, was at the Gorge meetup. I mean, just
nice.
I'm always trying to put yourself out there, trying to meet people. I've probably met more people backpacking than I ever met. I compared a lot to my Army times. I hardly ever met anyone when I was in the military that was that person that you don't want to be around. It's kind of like in backpacking, we have that. It's kind of like a brotherhood. We're all out there for one reason, out there to have a good time. We're out there to get. I'm a lot like Tim. It's mental for me. I have extremely hard mental. I have a lot of mental anxiety issues, and getting out there just helps me reset that.
Good deal, Brian.
Meanwhile, Brian's got to go fart out in the garage.
He's got to go find his kazoo.
It's a harmonica.
Ooh. So I assume you play it vertically.
Vertically?
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Tim and I were on the same page.
Yeah.
Well,
I just thought you put it straight up in there and just blow. It makes all kinds of sense.
You just make music.
Oh my God. So listen, it is getting close to 10 o'clock, and I kind of like what Mr. Woodall Charles was saying. I want to one more question, and it kind of goes along with that. And it is a question that I actually wrote down. But what is like a day-to-day challenge that you deal with? We're going to get deep here, and I don't mind sharing some of my stuff, but what is something you deal with every day that most people don't realize that you go through, that maybe going out backpacking helps or solves for you? Like, what is it, Tim? I know you got some things you work through every day, and you probably don't want to tell us. And if you start crying a little bit, that's okay.
Oh no,
your average everyday person does not know what you go through. What is it?
Yeah,
what
no.
in there?
I'm an open book. I really don't mind talking about it. I think, I struggle with alcohol to this day. I've been sober on and off throughout my adult life. I'd like to fool myself on occasion that I have that under control now. But yeah, I mean, just last week after the show, I went out with friends for a going away party and overdid a little bit. And yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Ironically, that's also why I smoke weed.
Is that the Monster thing though? Is that like replacing taking a drink out on the trail with you? Is that Monster kind of replacing that, you think?
Yeah, to a degree. It's that celebratory. I've always been a social drunk, and you guys know Mike is my best friend, kind of my sidekick. We both struggle with alcoholism, and he has the opposite. I was like the social go out to the bar, and I think I went out there and I would like release the anxiety by getting lubed up, you know, whereas Mike was more go home and numb the pain kind of guy. I mean, for lack of better words. So yeah, I think, and honest, if I'm being brutally honest, the last couple of years I've struggled with it, and I've even dabbled in bringing some booze with me on trail. But the blessing is just last week I did a mile and a half in. It was like 90 degrees, and I brought a twisted tea and like a shitty little box of wine, about that big. And I got out there and I got about halfway through that box of wine and I was feeling pretty buzzed up. I'm like, you know what? This is awful. This is stupid as shit. It's not for me. Now I know other friends that party like crazy on trail, and I love nothing more than watching them. But for me, if I'm going on trail, I prefer like the herbal medicines. And I'll real quickly, if you guys want to hear it, tell you the you okay with that, boss?
Yeah, go for it.
So Mike alluded earlier, and I think there's two people in the chat that are involved in this story. He and I just happened to have these little what we thought were micro doses of mushrooms. And we were in PA, actually. I can't remember what trail. That's irrelevant to the story. But he and I took one, and they were like big horse pills. I'm like, these are bigger than what I'm accustomed to. Like 20 minutes later, Mike is like, "Oh, dude, I feel like this is like I'm gonna trip." And I'm like, "No, these are just little like chill out microdoses. You're gonna be fine." And about 10 minutes after that, I'm like, "Oh shit, we're gonna trip." Well, the funny part of the story is we had a guest joining us that night. And we are now tripping balls to the point where we're having like mild visuals, and the fire is obviously super cool and all the cliche things about psychedelics. And then it kind of dawns on us like, oh, we got to meet a new human being here shortly. We had kind of a backstory who this person was, but if you've been in this or watched the show, so late in night, in what I believe is probably this guy's true fashion, it was Dave from Stoned Ape Adventures. So we kind of, not to be presumptuous, but he's pretty open on his channel about his habits, and we were a little nervous to meet him, and we're like, we're gonna be like so weird to this guy when he shows up. And then he shows up, and it was like 5 minutes later, we're like, oh, we had no reason. We had no reason to be freaked out at all. And then he told us he is a fascinating guy, like an absolutely fascinating guy. We talked, I don't know, that was one of the latest nights I've ever had on trail. But yeah, man, I hope there's not many kids watching, but if I had one lesson to teach people, it's don't drink alcohol, do drugs.
You're such a good role model.
And to be specific, to stay with the natural stuff, the light psychedelic.
I already wrote down crack. So don't do that. Don't do crack.
Then I'll send you a list of drugs not to try, maybe methamphetamines, crack cocaine, but yeah. There's a therapeutic value to that to me, whereas, I think sometimes when I'm at home and I'm bored, I'll slip and I'll drink. But it was a real neat like awakening for me, and Mike's and I have done this summer too, where we're just like, it's too hot to hike very far. Let's just have a few drinks, and I can't. I've regretted every single time I've drank on trail. You'd think I'd learned my lesson, but yeah, man, I went off on a rant there. What was the question?
Stand Up Adventure says psychedelics in the woods is the best ever. So I think you're in good company. You're okay there. All right, Dev, we're gonna ask you the same question. What is something you deal with every day that most people don't understand that you go through? Maybe they don't realize you're going through it, that helps, or the backpacking helps you through that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this honestly affects most backpackers, or maybe not most, but a lot of them, just like anxiety and depression, like John was saying, like it can get pretty bad. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. I've gotten through a lot of it, but I mean, I went through some pretty dark times where I was, I knew a shotgun would fit in my mouth with me being able to pull the trigger. So, hey, most people don't realize how depressed I was, but
we keep it real here at Backpacking Blitz.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have been there. I mean, and a lot of our veterans as well. I mean, what all trails you understand?
We should have led with this question.
I'm not a veteran, but
I deal with it day to day, and I know exactly what you're talking about, man. And I've dealt with a lot of loss. I've lost 2 siblings in like the last 5 years, and one of them being my twin brother. So that right there, and then just like the normal day to day anxiety and everything, and just going out on trails helps me get back to where I need to be. Like,
Yeah, man.
and I can tell when I haven't been out for a while. I have real bad anger issues, and I tend to take those out on the people that I love the most. And it's not that I'm angry. It's that there's something going on. That it could be anger. It could be I'm tired, or it could be all these emotions. And it's because I've learned that anger is the way that I can present them the easiest. It's how I present my emotions. And getting out on trail just helps me reset that. And it makes me realize, you know what do I need to be angry at? Like, I mean, it's just life.
Well, but I heard you mention your twin before. I don't know if I heard about the other siblings. So what, if you don't mind talking about what happened to your other sibling? What happened?
Both of them were drug related. First one was my sister. She her significant other basically wrecked them into a pole and killed my sister. And then the other one was my twin brother. His was so my family, we have a lot of addiction. Like Tim said, I have a lot of addiction issues in my family. I have numerous alcoholics, numerous drug addicts, and my brother was no different. He had gotten clean, and he'd been clean for a while, and then he liked his pills, and he went back to doing that, and you know how fentanyl is.
Well, I think I don't want to get all social worky here, but yeah, I mean, this is solidarity, and I think that's like just a really like strong theme with people like us. I think a lot of us are seeking that in backpacking and nature and things like that. And I don't know, maybe there's a strong connection to that, because I don't know. I preach something that I learned from a simple like TED Talks once about addiction is, you know, it's the solution. It's not the right solution necessarily, but it's a solution that somebody's trying to find for something that's underlying, you know. And there's like real science that goes into connection being one of the biggest healers of addiction in general, alcoholism, fill in the blank, anything you're addicted to. Connection is a huge part of that, and connection in nature. And I think like the common bond you feel with other people in the woods, I mean, it's a real thing. And I don't know, I can't preach that, you know, that for anybody struggling out there. It's not, we don't have all the answers here in the hiking world, but you do find a lot of those missing components that people are searching. You know, that's why they're using drugs and alcohol as the solution, is because they're missing that connection. And I think when I struggle the most is when I am lonely. And I think talking about loneliness is a struggle, especially for men. We got to get some female perspective. They're so scared to come on the show, I bet, because we're such weirdos. But for any female out there, it'd be great to get perspective. But the connection, that the bond, and I have, you know, like the Kentucky meetup, there's lots of men and women, and I think it's not just a male thing, but I think that the feelings is what we don't express often enough. And I think it's an open environment to do so in most settings with backpackers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like you've gotten pretty deep with some people on trail before, and it's you as well, Tim. And it's definitely, you don't do that golfing. I'll tell you that.
No.
Yeah.
No, golf is nothing major. That's just dick measuring is what a lot of those types of sports are. I mean, sorry, ladies, again,
that's why I always win.
For making this chauvinistic. But men are men, and they aren't doing the right thing when they're trying to be these like typical like Western, you know, douchebags, for lack of better terms. I mean, there's lots of awesome people out there that play golf, but there are these situations that, you know, in terms of masculinity and being a man, just certain topics are untouchable. And you're exactly right, Ben. I don't know if you're going to see people out on the 9th green, you know, talking about their addiction or the fact that they're lonely or, you know, depressed or whatever it may be. Where,
I think when you hit the trail, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's a much more level playing field, or at least you feel that way when you walk on the trail. You're not comparing yourself to everybody else. Like, you have no idea what's inside that pack, and you don't even know what that pack is. There's nothing you're really comparing it to. And when you get on the golf course, sometimes you don't have to, you know, I don't have expensive golf clubs, and I definitely feel a little bit weird sometimes when I golf with somebody who has, you know, $3,000 clubs, when mine cost $200 from Sam's Club or whatever. So you feel a little funny about that, but I've never had that on the trail before, ever. I don't think I've ever felt like I don't belong here. And I felt like that so many times in life. I've been in business all my life, and every time I walk into a room with a bunch of business people, look at me. I don't fit in. I don't make any sense. Why am I in that room? Listen, I'm on our local IDC board, which is economic development. I'm on a board with all these fancy people. I'm on our local chamber of commerce board. I've been the president of that organization. I've been on our local tourism board. I'm still on that board. I've been the president of that organization. And every time I'm involved in that, I always sit around thinking, I don't belong here. I don't feel, it just feels off. I want to do my part and help people. But that feeling of not belonging, and when I'm on the trail, I don't feel any of that. It's just gone. And it does. I mean, and for me, that's I take all that goes away, and that's why I go out there. I feel like every day I've battled myself like I don't belong in this group of people every single day, and so there's more there to go. But I'm not gonna go too deep on that.
It makes total sense. Yeah.
So
and there's something about sitting around a campfire in the pitch black when that's. Like, I think the fact that you can only see what's around you and everything else is pretty much just gone. I mean, it just brings something out of you guys, and you sit there looking at the fire and people talk. And I think because all the garbage that is the world we live in is all stripped away. All that's gone. You're, several kilometers from the next people, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's easier to open up like that. No one's comparing. Everyone's got there. Like, why would you care about that? I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You're right. Well, Tim, didn't you worked in a field prior to the lifestyle you live now? You were helping people, and I mean, you're a pretty wise man. You got any help for Brian? Yeah,
there's no help for Brian, unfortunately.
So, Brian, what's something you fight with, on a daily basis that kind of gets resolved as soon as you step on the trail?
Well, it's actually been my weight. So back when I first started backpacking, I was 277. So it was the first time I'd really ever felt the effects of being that overweight. I mean, I knew I was overweight, but I'd never done anything to really make it obvious to myself that it's a problem. And I dealt with that for years. And going backpacking was actually more frustrating and angering than it was fun for a long time, because every time I go out, it would just be a reminder, you can't do this. You can't keep up. You're the last one to camp. You're the last one back out of the woods. Everybody's waiting on you. And it's just, I don't know, you just felt like a burden on other people. And it just wasn't a lot of fun. And then after, you realize that, then you go through every day and you're just trying to figure out ways to get the weight off. And it took me a lot of years before I actually found anything that worked. Then I finally dropped about 94 pounds about 2 years ago.
That's awesome, dude. Good job.
Yeah, it made a world of difference. I got down from 277 to about 184, and then I was able to actually enjoy backpacking because everything wasn't a struggle. You could actually enjoy your time out in the woods, and so yeah, being on the trail now, of course, it helps keep me in shape, and but yeah, it's the struggle of just I enjoyed camp, but I hated getting to camp. I hate getting away from camp. The journey sucked every single time, but I knew I needed to do it.
Yeah, that's great perspective too. I think we just solved all the world's problems tonight.
I think so too.
Did.
Yeah.
If you're not happy and you're overweight, go out the woods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not happy. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And we do have
it helps with everything.
I got to mention,
go camping.
We got to throw a shout out. We got Crystal in the chat, so we do have one female. She's a Minnesota girl, fantastic photographer. I don't know if we have it. Is she the only one? I believe she might be, but yeah, I followed her on Instagram for a while. I think she knows Rob pretty well.
It's because all the moms are putting their kids to bed at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to start this at
being adults.
That's when all the ladies come out, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, it's 10 after 10. Anything else you guys want to add in? I was actually trying to find a video real quick, but Tim, I'll let you ask any more questions you want to ask while I try to find this video. Go ahead. Take it away.
No, I think if I have one question, it'd probably be for the people out there in the chat. I mean, we're definitely bouncing around every week, just kind of winging it. And I think all of us that are blabbing probably enjoy it. But we'd always love ideas for topics or things to talk about. And I think it's cool to have conversations like we had tonight. Every single backpacking podcast out there spends a lot of time talking about the gear and all those things. And I think, yeah, if I had one goal, it would be for more people to feel comfortable being as weird as I am, or opening up like everybody here did tonight. I mean, I don't know. It's heartwarming. I hate to use, sappy words, but it is heartwarming to be sitting here with you guys, all 4 of you, and not being afraid to just say shit, even though we got 21 loyal souls watching us. But I never thought I'd make the connections I'd make even in this forum, because Ben probably knows more than anybody. I've always been kind of hesitant to do lives. And
you're better than any of us. Hey, you're doing good.
Ben's also, I don't know, he kisses my ass so much. I don't know if I owe him money and I don't know it, or
He's
no,
looking
thanks,
for a
Ben.
zoo.
I figure instead of paying you more, I just give you compliments. That's it.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's worth more than money to me.
Everyone's like,
but
how
no.
did you hire Tim? I was like, he's the only one I could afford.
You couldn't have a better spokesmodel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to
Dear
show you
bro.
one more video, and this is this is Tim. I'm gonna kiss your butt again. This is my favorite. This is why me and Tim get along. The humor that I find in this video is exactly why I hired Tim. Most people don't think it's funny, and it's totally fine. So we're gonna watch this video and then wrap it up. Please laugh along with me. I'm going to go and pull this up on the stage here. But this is my all-time favorite video that Tim ever made, and no one else thinks it's funny. Here it is.
I think I know which one it is.
I think it's funny.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tim, Gear Pro at Hilltop Packs. So I thought today we'd answer one of the basic questions that came in. Today's question comes from Anonymous. The question is, Tim, how do you hike? Let's take a look at some good ways to get started. Now, I've been at hiking for a long time, and as you can see, I just crossed a stream. But let's not jump too far ahead into the hiking process. Let's start with the basics. Let me show you. As you can see, I'm standing here with my feet about shoulder width apart. And you want to start with what you're most comfortable with. Otherwise, maybe your dominant foot. So I'm going to simply start by taking my right foot and moving that into the step position. Now, once I'm here, the next thing I'm going to want to do is take my left foot and move that to the next step. I'm hiking. Hi, everybody. I'm Tim. Gear Pro.
Okay, we get that up.
So good.
That is
It's
a Gear
so
Pro.
good.
It's kind of like being a kid when somebody sings "Happy Birthday" to you. I'm blushing right now. So
There is more to that video. It's a longer version. I cut that a little bit short. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but he sent it to me, and I was like, when he crossed the stream, and he was so serious about how I just crossed the stream. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Oh crap! All right, guys. Well, we're gonna go and shut it down right there. We're gonna do this every Wednesday at the end of the month. They'll make a decision if we're going to keep it going or not, but I'm having a good time. Hopefully Tim is as well. And of course, everybody's favorite Canadian, Devin up there. And Brian, it is his first appearance tonight, but hopefully he keeps coming back too. I'm so sorry about that. All right, guys.
That's
We're
awesome.
right there.
Thanks,
we will
guys.
see you guys next time.
And Devin, you know damn well you're a full timer now. Just let's state that for the audience.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you're
guess I
sucked
have
in.
to.
Yeah, we need you, man.
I'm glad to be here. I got nothing
Yeah.
else to do than fight off bears and make maple syrup, so might as well.
And you dressed up.
We're going to keep going until Devin runs out of costumes. Okay. I'll ship a couple up.
I'm running low.
All right, guys. Until next time. Until next Wednesday, 9:00, same thing. We'll see you then.
See
Later.
you next week.